Shalom. Our Torah portion this week is Vayera, and in this portion we have a story of a conflict in Abraham and Sarah's family. Sarah, for a long time, was barren. She could not conceive children, and so we find earlier in the story that she gave her handmaiden, an Egyptian woman by the name of Hagar, to Abraham to be his concubine, to be able to have children with. And now, in those days, in biblical days, a concubine had a certain status, certainly not as high as a wife, but nonetheless it was a position of status in biblical times. Hagar conceives and gives birth to a child who would be called Ishmael, and we believe Ishmael was the patriarch of the Arab people. And subsequently, Sarah conceives, and she gives birth to Isaac, who would be the next in line to be the leader of the Jewish people. Now there was enmity between Sarah and Hagar, and Sarah demands that Abraham cast out Hagar, to send her away. In other words, to divorce her. And this is where the story picks up, and there is something at the end of the passage that I'm about to read that I find very significant, and I want to discuss it with you. Early next morning, Abraham got up and took bread and a water skin and handed them to Hagar, placing them and the boy on her shoulder. Then he cast her out. Trudging away, she wandered aimlessly in the wilderness of Beersheba. When the water in the skin was all gone, she cast the child away under a bush. She walked away and sat down on the other side at a remove of about a bow shot, thinking, "Let me not see the child's death." There, on the other side, she sat and wept in a loud voice. God heard the boy's cry, and from heaven an angel of God called to Hagar and said, "What is troubling you, Hagar? Have no fear, for God has heard the cry of the lad where he is. Get up, lift the boy, and hold him with your hand, for I'm going to make him a great nation." God then opened her eyes, and she saw well. She went and filled the skin with water and gave the boy to drink. What I find so remarkable and so significant in the passage we just read was that God did not make a well appear where it had not been before. There was no miracle here when God rescues Hagar from certain death in the desert. All God does was to open her eyes. Now, many of us in the modern period have trouble with thinking of God as directly intervening in the affairs of the world. Miracles are a difficult concept for us. That is, God interfering with the laws of nature. We pray for all sorts of things. We turn to God in times of desperation, when our hearts are broken or we are fearful of things. But do we really want a miracle? And do we really believe that God, again, violates the laws of nature simply to help us? The God, the Ribbono Shel Olam, the one who rules the universe, will God make something happen for us specifically? Being expressed in various places in the prayer book. In the Nisim B'chol Yom, or Birkat HaShachar, as it's called in more traditional texts, there's a blessing that's said every morning. It's Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam Pokeach Ivrim. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who opens the eyes of those who cannot see. And we bless God Again, not for miracles, but simply opening our eyes to the miraculous creation all around us and the myriad of possibilities that are laid before us. And we read later on in the Amidah, that is that set of prayers that come later in the service, that include a number of petitions. The first thing we ask for, Ata chonen ladam da'at umelamed le'inosh bina, chanenu mi'itcha chochma bina v'da'at. Baruch ata Adonai, chonen hada'at. You grace humans with knowledge. You teach mortals understanding. Graciously share with us your wisdom, insight, and knowledge. Blessed are you, Adonai, who graces us with knowledge. Notice we don't ask God for a miracle. All we ask God for is for insight, is for knowledge and wisdom, to open our eyes. To me, that is enough. When I pray to God, I don't pray for miracles. I just say, God, open my eyes to the miraculous creation that you have put before me. That's enough. Just open my eyes. Well, I hope that you will read this week's Torah portion and come to your own conclusions. Shabbat Shalom. Baruch ata Adonai, chonen hada'at. You grace humans with knowledge. You teach mortals understanding. Graciously share with us your wisdom, insight, and knowledge. Blessed are you, Adonai, who graces us with knowledge. Notice we don't ask God for a miracle. All we ask God for is for insight, is for knowledge and wisdom, to open our eyes. To me, that is enough. When I pray to God, I don't pray for miracles. I just say, God, open my eyes to the miraculous creation that you have put before me. That's enough. Just open my eyes. Well, I hope that you will read this week's Torah portion and come to your own conclusions. Shabbat Shalom.